Okay, we'll get started. Thanks, everybody. Good morning. It's May 1st, 2025. This is update meeting number 3 for the Vernon Avenue and Highway 100 interchange project. And again, we are recording this. We'll post this after the meeting on our YouTube channel. The link is on the website if you want to share that out with anybody else or review the materials. We also post the slides after the meeting. So thank you. Thank you for your patience. First week of a road closure, first few weeks are always the toughest. Again, businesses are open and accessible. You can get to any business within the Grandview district, get to 50th and France. There are ways to get there. They may be a little different, but businesses are open. And again, there's new traffic patterns, new routes, and construction brings noise, dust, vibrations, and other construction related stuff. So thank you for your patience as we kick off this major infrastructure project right in the Grandview district. Again, the goals, I won't read through these, but I just want to share these every time. The biggest is improve safety and mobility of all users and improve those traffic operations. And then the completion date is still what they bid on was November 15th, 2025 for substantial completion and road reopening. And this is the project. If you're unfamiliar, again, it's from Interlochen Boulevard, just to the west of Interlochen Boulevard on the left-hand side of this graphic, over to just west of Grange Road in the project the city did last year. It's adding dual left turn lanes onto northbound and southbound 100 with a new bridge over Highway 100, adding a new bridge over Vernon at Vernon Avenue over the railroad with a new left turn lane for westbound traffic to enter into the Walgreens Edina Liquor area. And then big wide sidewalks on both sides of the road for that pedestrian safety and pedestrian access. And then we're cleaning up the on and off ramps with Highway 100. So you can see how the hatched out patterns is on and off ramps that are getting adjusted or removed. Again, we're communicating in a lot of different methods. Those are listed there on the left-hand side. Many people receive postcards. Again, everything is being posted to the Better Together Edina website, and that's the project page, Vernon-Highway 100. You can sign up for email updates there if you haven't, but we're creating lists for email specific to residents, email specific to businesses. There's even a business specific website listed there where you can go and grab maps and materials and frequently asked questions. One of the example maps is the one shown there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, showing which roads are open and which roads are closed today. That's what this is. This is stage 1. This is what we're into right now. So the Interlochen Vernon intersection is open. The off-ramp of Highway 100 is open. You take the exit just around between south of Hilltop to hit Arcadia. Then the on and off ramps with Grange Road and off of 50th are still open. So this is what's happening today. We have some challenges, some things we want to tweak. We've been doing that as we've learned how traffic finds their way through the district. I think the biggest issue was the first couple days, people coming from Interlochen over here on the left-hand side would go straight through that intersection and get on the Gus Young lane. If you're doing that for local business access, keep doing it. But we had almost a majority of people were making that maneuver. And Gus Young and Arcadia was bumper to bumper, where they got down to this off ramp, and there was no gaps for this off ramp for those people to get off. And it's sort of backing up on the highway. It got much better. Second day, third day, we did a post that the detour you're supposed to take a right, use Vernon. It's got capacity. Go down to the traffic light and use Eden. So that's gotten much better, and we're still watching this off-ramp as we move forward. What is coming up? So we're learning more every week from the contractor. The big thing to keep this project moving is they need to remove the 2 bridges. So the draft schedule, this is draft, because they still need to get some signatures from the railroad to get that finalized. And then they're working with MnDOT on the closure for 100. They want to remove the Vernon Avenue Bridge over the railroad first. Right now, their tentative schedule is May 8th through the 12th. So in 1 week, they want to do that during normal working hours, but it does include a weekend because they're trying to work around rail traffic. But they're saying it's mostly during those normal work hours. So that's May 8th to the 12th is the tentative schedule for that. Then 4 days later, May 16th to the 19th. So Friday evening, they want to close Highway 100. They're required to close Highway 100 when there's any work over the highway. They want to remove that Highway 100 bridge. They want to start that Friday night and work nights and weekends, 24 hours, continuous working, and have it reopened by 5 a.m. on that Monday, the 19th. So Highway 100 closure is tentatively scheduled for that weekend of the 16th to the 19th. They're going to work 24 hours a day, full closure of Highway 100. So there'll be a regional detour. So the big detour is Highway 62 to Highway 169 to Highway 394. That's the regional traffic detour for Highway 100. We're working on local traffic detours and maps. So we'll both have maps for the regional detour and for the local detour traffic. And we're working through those details right now. There will be some short-term lane closures on Highway 100, and one was supposed to occur right now between 10 a.m. and 2 today, where they can close just the center lane, northbound and southbound, as they prep for this closure. They need to do pavement sawing. They need to get into some storm structures and see exactly what the inverts are. So that, I think, is occurring right now. I don't have confirmation on that, but that was scheduled for today. They can do that without notice because the highway is still open. The other change is the northbound 100 Grange on-ramp. They need to close that May 14th, and I'll show a better graphic, to prep for this weekend closure. And then that ramp will be closed while they work on the abutment on the east side of the new bridge. So the access will be for northbound 100, will still be off of 50th, but that extra one off of Grange will be closed starting May 14th. And we don't know when it's going to reopen yet based on construction schedules. And then we also, and if you're nearby, see that the noise wall removal is happening now on this section on the north side of Vernon Avenue next to Hawthorne Court. So we mentioned this in the previous meetings as stage 2 work is really that intersection of Interlochen and Vernon and Gus Young. They want to start that work soon and just continue to expedite this project. We said this would be built in stages, and that's what they're planning to do. They are thinking about submitting this idea. It hasn't been submitted officially yet. We haven't approved it yet. We don't have dates. But we know that this intersection with the traffic signal is having some issues. This will improve traffic operations. So if I explain how traffic would work, you're coming off Interlochen. This will basically be a free right where there'll be no signalized arrows or bulbs, and it'll be a free right. You're coming eastbound and want to take a left on Interlochen. That will be a free left. These movements will just be slowed down, but there will be no stopping for any signal operations. They'll take the signal out of operation. They'll have barricades where this rough red line is, and this allows them to build 3 corners of this intersection all at once. The only thing we're working on now and discussing is where does the closure on the south leg of that intersection happen? Is it on this spot where people can still use Gus Young and get into the Walgreens Edina Liquor parking lot? Or do we have to close it before that and that traffic would go behind that building? So this is what we're still discussing, exactly where that closure would be based on the space they need. They need to put a crane right here. But this would improve traffic operations immediately. It would improve it here, but I think it would also improve it on that off-ramp because not all the cars are cutting through on Gus Young, backing up the off-ramp operations. Would speed up construction because they can build 3 out of the 4 of these in one time. And it provides safe working space for both the contractor and for the traveling public. And then some pictures. This is what's happening if it's tough to see because it's kind of a little ways away, but upper left is concrete removal of the existing street. On the east side of the bridge, you see City Hall in the background. The middle graphic here, we did install some additional signage for both the Grandview district, so business access, and the 50th and France district, business access. So this is southbound Arcadia at the roundabout. OLG in the background. Again, some more street removal and rubblizing the concrete. Their stockpile location there is on the east side of the highway. Within those redundant ramps, they're stockpiling the concrete, and they're going to recycle that, grind it up, and reuse it. So that stockpile area is there. Upper right is another photo where all the pavement's been removed from the off-ramp all the way towards the Vernon Avenue Bridge. And then the bottom center is that noise wall coming down. So they're getting rid of the planking. This is a picture, I believe, from today. And then they're going to pull those posts with their excavators after they get through removing the rest of the planks. And again, this is a graphic of the finished product on the left of up on the High 100 bridge with the wide sidewalks, pedestrian push buttons, new lighting, new railings, turn lanes. And the bottom right is a view from the High 100. Any questions? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see the chat. I don't see any questions in the chat at this point. Is the sound wall being replaced after it is removed? Yes, it is. It's being removed basically to the east side of the Hawthorne Apartments, east side of their building, and then slightly realigned and reinstalled. So, yep. You have an image of the new Vernon Avenue wall. Vernon Avenue wall. The noise wall is going to look the same. It's going to be installed on top of a big block wall that needs to be installed to support the new roadway and sidewalks. All of our engineering drawings, we may have something. I don't have it readily available. So Brian, if you just want to email me, we can see what we have and I can share that with you on what we have. A good question. Thank you. Other questions? Looks like we got about 22 people. Another good turnout this week. Again, we're working on updated maps and communications and press releases. Brittany's doing a great job helping me send all that stuff out. So any changes to traffic, we will definitely be broadcasting that out. Dave had a question. Will both bridges be built by November? Yes, that's the plan. That's the contract they signed. Unforeseen circumstances, right? Who knows? But that's the contract they signed. If for some reason something comes up and it doesn't happen, we'll be communicating that out to the entire community and explaining why. But right now, that's the date, mid-November. Both bridges being built, road reopened. There may be a little bit of punch list kind of stuff that goes into 2026. But right now, that's the schedule we're all working towards, is that November completion, substantial completion. Thanks, Dave. Good question. Other questions? Again, make sure you visit the website, Better Together Edina, with the updates. Lots of information there, lots of maps. Sign up for the emails. Been sending about 1, maybe 2 a week thus far. I'm trying to do at least an update a week, if not more, on the website. And we're continuing to monitor traffic operations. I think that's the biggest thing we're hearing from people is some adjustments that we should be looking at, and we're doing that. What else? What other questions? That's either a good thing that we don't have a lot of questions. It means we're answering all the information on the website or through these presentations. We'll do this again in 2 weeks. Again, look for those updates. If you got specific questions, just email me and I will respond with what I know at the time. Here's another question. Is there any intent to remove the bridge over 100 that currently remains? So that's the Eden Avenue Bridge. No, there's no intent to remove that bridge. That's a vital connection between the east side and the west side of 100. There's no plans to remove that bridge. The MnDOT owned bridge. They have no plans to remove it. The city doesn't want it removed. Why couldn't this project be completed last summer when 50th was closed? Great question. This project's been under development for 5 years. There was federal funding, county project was part of it, state contract, 12 different funding sources, different approvals, design things. We had to get all the stuff done. Totally different scale, project team, requirements, local agreements that need to be done. Last year's project was a local project. We were able to spin that up in time to get it done before this project. If these two projects were merged, there's no way we could have completed them in 1 year. I think it would have been a 2-year project. So we felt like breaking these two up into pieces just made more sense from both just the constructability, timing, but also now we have 50th and Grange that we can use to help support traffic while this other project is going. So it sucks to have projects year after year, but it really, with the new roundabouts, the new traffic signal, it's really helped operations from a traffic standpoint to support this much larger infrastructure or this interchange project. So yeah, great question, Dave. Anything else? So I think story for me is there's changes coming for traffic. There's some specific movements that may change. So Interlochen Vernon, that on-ramp to northbound 100 on Grange. I think those two things will be updating some maps on those tweaks to the current traffic operations. And then the big things are bridges coming down next week and the next week for the railroad bridge. And that weekend after for the Highway 100 bridge is a full closure of Highway 100. Right now we're looking at, the full detour again is Highway 62, 169 to 394. Local traffic, I was just putting together some maps. Local traffic, I think the best for locals is depending on what side of 100 you live on. If you live on the east side of 100, take 62 to Valley View Road, and then come up Valley View to Wooddale or the East Frontage Road or Normandale Road. If you're on the west side of 100, I think you should take Highway 62 to Tracy, then Tracy up to Vernon. So those are the two. If you're coming from the south during that big closure, if you're coming from the north during that big closure, you should take the Excelsior Boulevard exit. And again, if you're on the east side, I would suggest going to Wooddale and taking Wooddale Avenue through St. Louis Park down into Edina. If you're on the west side, we're going to recommend take Brookside Avenue down up to Interlochen to connect to the west side of Edina. So those are kind of be the local access and traffic things during that weekend closure. And then Eden Avenue within the district still going to be open. So you can still take local roads. Vernon's open, Interlochen's going to be open. It's just getting on and off the highway if you need to get somewhere off the highway. So those things I just explained are really that highway access. If you're staying local streets, there'll be pretty much what you see today is the same during that weekend closure. You can use those local streets. Well, I don't see any other questions since 11:17. We're at 11:21. Last call for any questions. Appreciate everybody signing on. We had 20 some people. That's a good turnout again. And again, we'll have the same meeting in 2 weeks. And if you got specific questions you want me to address, please send those over. And we'll continue to answer those either here or if it's a time sensitive, we'll put it on the website. So thanks again, everybody. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. And if you got specific stuff, just let me know.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you. Yep. See ya. Thank you.